I'm home. This is in a sense a homecoming for me, because I started right here at Newman Smith, and I was here for 9 years where I was a coach and a math teacher. And just like Beyonce's homecoming film, this is my homecoming. So this has been a dream for me to be the principal at Newman Smith High School, and I'm just really excited that the opening came about so that I could hopefully jump on the opportunity. So I'm from a really small town in East Texas, White House. Some of you may be familiar with the Kansas City Chiefs quarterback. He is from White House too. I think he's who put White House on the map. But he is from White House, Texas, and it used to be when I was there, it was just a stoplight. You know, we had one stoplight, we had a gas station that sold hamburgers. So growing up in a small town where you know everyone and where the bus driver is also the principal and the head janitor, you know, growing up in a small town is very different than where I am right now. So I am a first generation college graduate. I'm the first person in my family on both sides to graduate from college. So I did go to a junior college. I went to Kilgore Junior College, where I was a Kilgore College Rangerette, and I learned so much. It was my first time to ever fly on an airplane. I went and I performed in Japan and New York, and it was really quite exciting to be from this tiny town and then go and get to have all these exciting opportunities through a junior college. From there, I auditioned for the Texas A&M Dance and Pom Squad, and I made that, and so then I went down to Texas A&M where I finished and got my bachelor's degree. I went to teach 1 year in Lufkin, Texas, but it was such a small, tiny town that when I got the call from Dr. Alvoyd that said, would you please consider coming to Newman Smith to be the drill team director? Well, I need you to know that my whole life in drill team competition, I would see the Newman Smith High School Troyans, and they were the team to beat. The competition in the 90s was called, it was late 80s, early 90s, and it was called Superstar Miss Texas. And the Newman Smith Troyans took home every award there was to take every single year. And so my whole life, you know, I had been admiring this drill team that was huge, and I remember thinking, Newman Smith High School, Newman Smith High School. Several of my Rangerette buddies were Newman Smith Troyans as well. And so when she called me and said, would you like to be the director of the Newman Smith Troyans? Well, she might as well have been asking me to be over the New York City Rockettes, because I did not hesitate to come down and interview with Dr. Alvoyd so that I could be here over the Troyans. So I spent 9 great years right here. When I was here, I did go and pursue my master's degree in administration, and I loved coaching so much that when Mr. Pouncey would come and say, you know, okay, Miss Martin, it's time for you to be an administrator, I would say, no, sir, Mr. Pouncey, I need to finish coaching. I love my coaching job, and I love my math classroom. Well, after he was very persistent, Mr. Pouncey. It's one thing I really love about him. He finally said, okay, it's time, and he pushed me out of the nest, and although he didn't have an opening here that year, he sent my resume on to Creekview and to Turner. And so I was hired at Turner to be an assistant principal, and then went on to be the associate principal at Turner and the principal at Vivian Field, and now I'm here. So my mom always wanted to go to college, and they couldn't afford that opportunity, and she wanted to go to college, and she wanted to be a teacher. And so she told me, she said, you're going to be the first one to go to college, and wouldn't it be great if you were a teacher? And so from day one, I loved school. I loved being in school, and I kept telling myself, you know, I'm going to go to college so that I can be a teacher. And then after I met one of my mentors, her name is Cindy Nick, and she was my drill team coach. She said, I remember that she pulled me in her office and she said, I think that you have something really special. I think that you have leadership potential. And when she told me that, it was almost like that belief in me from someone else helped me to believe in myself. My parents at the time were working multiple jobs, and my mom was still pushing me, but at the same time she was very busy trying to provide my mom and dad for our family. And so to hear this teacher that isn't my own parents who already believe in me, but took the time to pull me aside and said, I see something in you that I don't see in a lot of students, and we're going to build on that. I mean, Cindy Nick, it just changed my life. Well, I think I want the community to know how much I love this school. I think of this principalship really as a stewardship. Smith is such a unique place, and so many people in the community love it. I want them to know that I love Smith too. And it takes a principal that really loves a campus to connect with the same kind of community that loves a campus. And so I know that Smith is a very special place. In 45 years, Smith has had only 6 principals. That's amazing for a high school. And so to be the 6th principal here, I know the weight that carries in this community. And I'm professionally committed to Newman Smith. And I just want the community to know that I will do everything that I can do and everything that I can influence to make Smith a great place. But I want the teachers to know 2 things really. That when they speak to our scholars, they speak with the authority of the principal. Because that's what Dr. Alvoyd and Mr. Pouncey did for me as a teacher. They told me that when you reach out to scholars, or when you talk to our scholars, when you tell them something, that is as if it's coming from the principal. And not just some direction, but some motivation, some inspiration. Like, as a professor, you have that power. I think about where our kids spend their school day, and I have a son in CFB, and I want his teachers to care for him, to love him, and when they speak to him, I want him to really be listening, because they're giving their lives to help kids. I want the students to know that, and I hesitate to say this, but I want them to know that I'm strict, but I'm also warm. That I have very high expectations of them, but it's only because I know they can do it. And that I also want them to know that I deeply believe in students today. When the rest of the world falls back on their theories of, well, kids today, that I know differently, that I know that kids not only are smarter than kids have ever been, not only are they more engaged in their communities and in their causes than kids have ever been, but those 2 things together, that I'm going to have a growth mindset, I'm going to learn, and I'm going to help my community. I'm excited about where the kids today are going to take our world.